I'm going to ask you right now, do me a favor, go ahead over to YouTube and just look up Darrin L. Harris. That's Darrin L. Harris. And what you want to do is subscribe, because every time we upload, and we will be uploading a lot of information there. In fact, if you go there right now, there is a plethora, a plethora All right. So this is Darrin L. Harris, and this is my final behind the scenes before we actually go live, and we're excited about it. So tomorrow we start our inaugural show, and the show is called Amplify with Darrin L. Harris. So that's the name of the show, and we're excited about it, and I want you to be a part of it, because we're going to be having a lot of conversations, engaging conversations, and we're going to be talking about many subjects, many things that can help elevate us as individuals, help elevate us as a community, help elevate us also as a country and the world. Because I just believe that this national podcast is going to have a global impact. But it can't have a global impact. It can't have a national impact. It can't have a community impact. It can't have an individualized impact without you. And so we've been doing a lot of work getting ready for tomorrow's show. And tomorrow's show is going to be a special show, because we're starting a conversation that for some it's going to be a little uncomfortable. And you're going to hear me give a lot of disclaimers, because, people love to assume what your position is. They love to, make assumptions about, your beliefs, your values. But that's not the purpose of the show. Now, you will hear, obviously, some of my opinions, but I will do my best to give, of course, disclaimers where there needs to be disclaimers. Like, for example, tomorrow we're talking about, over policing in the African American community. Now, at first glance, when you hear that title, when you hear something like that, the first thing you're probably thinking is he's anti-police. So let me be clear. In the words of Barack Obama, let me be clear. I am not anti-police. And I do believe that it has its purpose and its functioning, but I also believe that there's an overusage in the African American community, and some of this over policing has caused negative impacts. And some may even say it has caused positive impact. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And so that's a part of the conversation. And we want you to be able to engage and join in that conversation as well. And so we're going to be providing, spaces for you to add value to the conversation. And if you're an expert, if you're a self-proclaimed expert and there's things that you would like to say, then there's a way that you can do that too. So tomorrow is going to be a very, very impactful and powerful show, because I'll be speaking about my personal experience as well with law enforcement. And I'll say this as a part of my disclaimer, like, I have family members, I have friends. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. And I know a lot of veterans who are great and good abiding law enforcement. Okay. So, we're going to talk about it all. And so I don't want anybody to think that this particular conversation is directed towards any group, because, we need police to help keep our communities safe. And so we are about, creating safe communities. We are about building trust. And so we're going to talk a lot about what we're about. Many times when people have these conversations, they talk about what they're against, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying what you're against. But I think, we add value when we're able to talk about what we're for as well. And so we're going to be doing that, but we're also going to have some special information. I can't talk to you about it right now, but we're going to, at the end of that particular podcast, we are going to be sharing some very valuable information that's going to help save lives. We're going to help save lives. And so that's really a part of what tomorrow's show is about. And as you heard me say before, if not, if this is your first time hearing it, I'm dedicating this show to my younger brother, Lionel Tyrone Harris, who was tragically killed at 15 years old, coming from his first high school dance by law enforcement. Yes, he was unarmed, 15 years old, coming from his first high school dance, and he was shot in his head. And tomorrow is the anniversary of his death. That particular murder by a blue bullet happened in 1993. So October 3rd, 1993 changed my life forever. And so I wanted to make sure that I did something and that I do my part. And even as one who supports the National Action Network with the Reverend L. Sharpton, I just believe that I wasn't doing my part, and I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. And so this is a part of my efforts of what I call doing my part to make a difference. And so that's what Amplify is about. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things, but what I failed to do, because sometimes we get so wrapped up and so busy in preparing, and there's nothing wrong with that, because failing to plan is planning to fail. So there's nothing wrong with preparing, but sometimes we get so busy and so wrapped up. And I say this quite often to people when I'm, coaching them, whether it's life coaching or business coaching or just leadership development, that sometimes we can do so much that we end up doing nothing at all. You ever been there before? That you're just doing so much that you end up doing nothing at all. And so it's important that, we have these conversations about a healthy balance. And so we'll have places and spaces for that. In fact, for those who subscribe to Amplify with Darrin L. Harris podcast, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute and how you can do that, because we definitely want you to support the efforts in what we're doing. But I think it's important that we provide a space and a platform to help individuals who are seeking to increase their influence so that they can build high performing, high impacting, and sustainable organizations that change their part of the world. So Amplify is amplifying on many different levels. Yes, it's a podcast where we're dealing with social justice issues, but we are going to have a special section that is just for those who subscribe to our podcast, and you can do that through Buzzsprout. And so I just encourage people, you can go straight to our website, which is amplifydlh.com. amplifydlh.com, where you can also see, of course, our podcast there. And we're everywhere, by the way. And so that's Buzzsprout is the distributor, and so they make sure that our podcast gets out to Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon Music, Spotify. I mean, you name it. We're everywhere. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find Amplify with Darrin L. Harris. And so that's a great thing about that. But you can go straight, once again, to our website, which is amplifydlh.com, and you can get all of that information. You can also connect to our socials there as well. And so just scroll on down to the bottom and you just click and it'll bring you straight there. Now, we are focusing a lot of our attention on YouTube. We're building, of course, our YouTube community, and because that's where we're going to live. Amplify is going to be living in the YouTube space. And so this is where you'll be able to catch, of course, our podcast. If you want to see it like you're seeing me right now, if you want to see it, you'll be able to view it and see it on YouTube. And so we ask that you go there. In fact, I'm going to ask you right now, do me a favor, go ahead over to YouTube and just look up Darrin L. Harris. That's Darrinl Harris. And what you want to do is subscribe, because every time we upload, and we will be uploading a lot of information there. In fact, if you go there right now, there is a plethora a plethora of information, and podcasts are already on there. Some reflections that I've done, and we plan to do more of those. But our newer reflections, of course, will be for our subscribers, and we want you, of course, to subscribe on YouTube. So that's one way that you can support.